Good morning, students. I hope you're all doing well. I wish you a very happy and prosperous new year. Okay, so shall we move on into the lesson? Let me begin by asking you a question. Have you all watched movies in which the hero knowingly or unknowingly commits a mistake and pays a very big price for it? Say, for example, take a look at these movies, Three or Maina or Paruthiveeran or Ravanan, Chekkachivandavanam, or one of your Bollywood movies, Omkara. All these movies have one similar thing or one common element in them, and that is the fault or the mistake done by the hero, which haunts him throughout the movie. And by the end of the movie, we can see that either the hero dies because of that mistake that he did, or his beloved or the people who he loves will be severely affected by the mistake he did. Okay, so all these movies evolve around the path of tragedy, and it is something or irreversible action or wrongdoing done by the hero that makes him lose his life or cause something bad or terrible to happen to the people he loves. So, William Shakespeare's Macbeth is one such story which revolves around the eponymous hero Macbeth and how he falls from grace, how he moves on from doing good to doing evil just because of one fault in his character, that is ambition and jealousy, and how it perpetuates a cycle of evil within the play and within his environment, within his surrounding, and how he goes on a very raged bloodbath because of that. We will discuss all these in the upcoming classes as well as in this video. Okay, so let us take a look at the trope or the topic of tragedy. Okay, so tragedy by definition is, I quote, a branch of drama that treats in a serious and dignified style the sorrowful or terrible events encountered or caused by a heroic individual. By extension, the term may be applied to other literary works such as novels as well. So, tragedy is a genre in which a hero is brought down by his own characteristic faults or flaw in his characters, and they are usually ordinary human flaws such as greed or being overambitious or having excess love on someone or something, and honor or misplaced loyalties, etc. etc. So the tragic story actually revolves around how these human flaws or some unintentional or intentional mistakes done by the hero perpetuates a motion of violence or distress within the story that either directly or indirectly affects the hero. That is the common understanding of tragedy. Okay, so the hero who has this fault, the hero who commits the fault is also known as or tragic hero, and here in our play Macbeth is our tragic hero. So in our play, let's see how Macbeth descends from greatness to utter destruction, and that how it marks his downfall because of his flaw. And these flaws, these casual, unintentional or intentional flaws in human character is also called as a tragic flaw. The flaw that makes the tragic hero fall from grace is also called as the tragic flaw. In our play, Macbeth's tragic flaw is ambition. He is way too ambitious and he goes to extreme levels such as murdering the king or murdering his fellow companions, etc. for achieving his dream. So being over ambitious is the flaw or the tragic flaw of Macbeth. So here Macbeth is our tragic hero and his tragic flaw is being over ambitious. So let's also have a quick glance on William Shakespeare. So William Shakespeare is the one who penned or Macbeth, the story Macbeth. And William Shakespeare is believed to be born around 26th of April 1564, and he died on 23rd April 1616. He was an English poet, playwright, and an actor. He's also widely regarded as the greatest English writer, and he's also considered as the preeminent dramatist. It means a very influential, a dramatist of high quality. So he's also often called as England's national poet, and he's also known as the Bard of Avon. So his works includes around 38 plays. He wrote 38 plays and 154 sonnets, including excluding 2 long narrative poems and few other verses as well, free verses as well. So this is the corpus of his literature, and his plays have been translated into almost all languages in the world, and it is performed more than any other plays. His plays have been performed more than any other plays in the entire world. So when we talk about Macbeth, Macbeth is the last of 4 great Shakespearean tragedies, and the other tragedies include Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, and finally followed by Macbeth. So the real horror that lies within the play Macbeth is that it is not a very bloody, gory play. Rather, it is a very sensitive play, because Macbeth himself is very sensitive and aware of all that is going around him, and also all that is going within his mind as well. He knows exactly what he is doing. He knows exactly that what he is doing is wrong, and all the murder and bloodbaths that are going on around him is wrong, and he knows very well that he is the sole cause for all that. That is what makes the play very horrible. Knowing that you do something wrong in the sight of God and in the sight of the society, and yet continuing to do that is very horrible, and to be a person who goes through that would be a very horrible experience. That is where the horror in the story lies. The horror in the story does not lie in Macbeth killing the king and killing all the other people that follows. Rather, the horror lies within the consciousness of Macbeth himself, and his awareness and his sensitivity to the bloodbath that is going on around him. That is where the horror lies, and that is why Macbeth is one of the greatest tragic plays of all time. So Macbeth is a tragedy written in 5 acts by William Shakespeare, and it is written somewhere between 1606 and 1607. Okay, so this play is the shortest of Shakespeare's tragedies, and it has no diversions or subplots or sideline stories that sidetracks the main story. So this story is about a Thane called Macbeth, and how he seizes the power through unjust means, and his subsequent destruction because of that. It also follows the rise and fall of his ambition to rule Scotland. So initially we look at Macbeth and Banquo, who are the generals, were also referred to as Thanes, serving King Duncan of Scotland. And on their way home, they meet the 3 weird sisters, or the witches, or the 3 witches, who prophesy that Macbeth will become the Thane of Cawdor and then the king, and that Banquo will beget kings. Though both of them don't really believe in what they heard, believe in that prophecy, what happens is that as soon as Macbeth returns home, he finds out that he has been made Thane of Cawdor. And this particular incident triggers his ambition so much so that he became very sure that he will become the king subsequently. But when King Duncan chose Malcolm, Duncan's son, to become the heir to the throne, Macbeth becomes perplexed and he becomes very agitated, and his ambition to become king pushes him to murder Duncan. So both Macbeth and his ambitious wife plot to kill King Duncan when he arrives for a visit at Macbeth's place, and spurred by his wife, Macbeth kills Duncan, and the murder, when it is discovered by Macduff, who is also a general, a Thane of 5, Macduff distrusts Macbeth's claim that the King Duncan was murdered by his guards, and Malcolm as well as Donal Blaine, Duncan's sons, flee the country because they feared for their lives. So this cleared the way for Macbeth to become the next king of Scotland. And worried by these witches' prophecy that Banquo's heirs instead of Macbeth's own children will be the kings, Macbeth again arranges or plots for the death of Banquo and his son. So he succeeds in killing Banquo but not his son. So Banquo's ghost haunts Macbeth and Lady Macbeth in their castle, and it also drives Lady Macbeth into madness. And this is the part which you have for your play. So I'll finish the story. The witches assure Macbeth that he will be safe until Birnam Wood comes to Dunsinane, and that no one of women born shall harm him. So catching on this prophecy of the witches, he once again moves forward, and he gets ready for a war against Macduff and Malcolm's army. When he knows, or when he learns that Macduff has joined Malcolm, he orders to kill Macduff's wife and children as well. So this entire story revolves around the killing of his adversaries. So on the battle day, Macduff, Malcolm and their armies came against Macbeth through the place called Dunsinane, and they used the wood and branches from a place called Birnam forest, a small forest, a wood called Birnam, and they used it for camouflaging, and they came against Macbeth through Dunsinane, and that is when Macbeth realized that the first prophecy of the witches to come true. Do you remember the witches say that he will be safe until Birnam Wood comes to Dunsinane? So that prophecy has happened. Now the second prophecy that is yet to happen is that Macbeth will not be killed by anyone who is born of women or born of women. So Macbeth boasts to his adversaries using this claim. He says that no one born of women can kill me. It means that no one born on this earth, everyone who's ever been born on this earth has been born through a woman, right? Only women can give birth to children. So he boasts on this claim. But what happens is Macduff pulls his sword out and he kills Macbeth, saying that he was not born of his mother, rather he's been ripped from his mother's womb. It means ripped means to be born out of a cesarean. That is what he implies here. So Macduff says that he was not born normally through a woman, rather he was ripped, or he was torn from his mother's womb by ripping her stomach. So the second prophecy of the witches also have come true. That is the moment when Macbeth realizes that all these things that have been instigated by him were in fact a mere play by fate. So if he didn't have encountered the three witches, all these things wouldn't have happened. So there is this dilemma of good and evil, of fate and free will choice that is seen heavily in this play. We'll get into the nuances of the play, the themes of the play, and how all these things, all these manifestation of the supernatural beings are being dealt with in this play. All these elements of surprise, all these elements of distress that has been instigating or that has been going on into the psyche of the personas, of the people involved with Macbeth, and also the people who are distantly involved with Macbeth in the upcoming classes. Okay, this is a very important play, and I'm very sure that this play will be asked for your annual exam. Okay, this is the only play we have, and it will be definitely asked for your for your annual exam. Okay, so let's look at this play in detail in the upcoming classes. So thank you.